Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to Last Minute Kickout with the Kings of Wrestling. Myself, Pete Tuntsquid Neverco, joined as always by one Mr. Kevin, the Kevin Eva.
Hello.
And joined by Mr. KO Mania himself, one Mr. John Turbo Finley.
Yeah.
Indeed.
He's the worst booked member of the trio.
Am I?
I'd say he's more over with management with the way he looks compared to the rest of us. Indeed. How are you gentlemen doing since we last sat and chatted?
It's been an interesting few days.
Yes.
But yeah, looking forward to talking about some wrestle.
Yes, some more WrestleMens. John, how are you doing?
Doing fine. It's just like just been going, in and out of the enjoyment of weather. It's like liking it one day and not liking it the next. It's like
that's weather for you.
back.
It's either good or it's shit.
And yet, everywhere you go, you always take the weather with you.
Oh, fuck off.
It's like a 24/7 title.
As promised, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to talk about Extreme Rules 2019. And, for the most part, I actually enjoyed this card.
No, I would totally agree with you with that.
As do I, which will make things very interesting later.
Oh, ho, ho. Or hon, hon.
Who watched the pre-show?
I watched the pre-show. Did you watch the pre-show?
Yes, I did.
I did not watch the pre-show, so you guys tell everyone what you guys thought of the pre-show.
We started with Balor Nakamura, which bizarrely is on the pre-show for some god knows reason.
Yeah, because frankly, I would have loved this to be in the main card personally myself, with a little more build and a little more kind of like thing. Because this is harking back to their New Japan days. Ironically, for the same kind of like division of the IC picture, and their match on this pre-show was actually really good, and Nakamura's got some really good new moves in his arsenal right now, like that. Was it the suplex from, like, he has his opponent in the ropes and he kind of like does a baseball, like a slide underneath the bottom rope, and then does a suplex to put him down on the mat while he's sliding out of the ring. That's unique.
Yeah.
He's like
the baseball slider suplex. That's what they'll call it.
Baseball slider suplex. Okay, that's nice alliteration.
That's the slider suplex. Yeah, just the slider suplex.
The alliteration is horrible. It was a fun match, if not relatively short, which I think is pre-show restrictive. But I don't know if it did the guys justice, but being over as quickly as it did. Nakamura wins, gets the IC title, obviously because Balor's asked for some time off and is probably going to get it after SummerSlam. We don't know. And obviously it puts a belt back on Nakamura, who they'll probably lose to obscurity soon at some point, I imagine. Like they did when he had the US belt.
Yep. It's looking like that, as it usually has been with the mid-card titles at the moment.
But yeah, it was an interesting match, if anything else. The other match on the pre-show was the Cruiserweight title with Drew Gulak, the saviour of the Cruiserweight division, versus Mr. Tony Nese. John, what were your thoughts on this one?
Again, the Cruiserweights obviously doing fine with their work ethic and whatnot. Gulak, I think this is taking place in Gulak's hometown, this event. So he was usually when you're in a hometown of a wrestler, they're normally booked to lose, but no, this time around Gulak was able to keep his title this time around against Nese. What was it? I've forgotten who took that really bad. I wouldn't say bad. It was just mispositioned. Was it a Shooting Star? I think it is. I think it was Nese going into Gulak, I can't remember which one it was, but their knee going right into the midsection.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was quite nasty.
There's been a lot of high risk stuff that's been going a little bit awry of recent times.
More so on other promotions than others, but no, I mean, other than that little spill, overall the match was, a general kind of like cruiserweight match that lasted as long as it did, and had a decent kind of like work rate to it. I have nothing nothing negative to say about it. It was decent.
No, there was nothing negative to say about it, but it was largely forgettable, I think, unfortunately. Which I think
I wouldn't say it was forgettable. It was just it was par for the course of pre-show cruiserweight title matches.
Hopefully there'll be one point. I mean, it's my own fault for not watching 205 live, I think, but there's just too much.
I'm the same as I'm the same. Like we're totally missing an angle between
just the cruiserweight division in general.
Yeah, well, that too. Like in general as well, and of course the rumors going around of what was it? Daniel Bryan possibly going on to the 205 roster to do some work on that.
Do you know what? If that actually happened, I would probably watch 205 live. I watched 205 live when Neville was there. My problem is that, while he should have been like the head point of it and like dominate and just be on the mic to get everybody interested, he just wasn't. So hopefully if they do it with Bryan, then he will be.
So does this mean at some point Daniel Bryan's going to want out of his contract, then disappear, come back looking like an absolute madman jacked, and then win the Dragon Gate Championship?
Probably. That makes sense.
And then he's gonna threaten to fight Hangman Page, and then he's not.
That also makes sense. I completely concur with this assessment. But yeah, that was the pre-show. Let's move on to the main card, which I'm quite sure everybody is going to have a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's start with the match that opened it. Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre versus the most well-renowned team that they actually had a special T-shirt, the Junkyard Dogs. Graveyard Dogs, even.
I was going to say, where did you get the Junkyard Dogs from?
They've brought him back and they've cloned him.
No. What they've done?
Two of the buggers. No. Oh my god.
The Junkyard Dogs is the forthcoming.
Two Hall of Fame.
It's the forthcoming new 3-man tag team of Heavy Machinery and Roman Reigns. That's what Junkyard Dogs is.
I personally thought of it more as Ace the Bat Hound and Crypto. Versus Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon.
But yeah, Roman Reigns and The Undertaker. Why? I mean, it's obvious that The Undertaker wanted to redeem himself after the Saudi Arabia show.
Just a little.
That much was obvious to show that it wasn't on him, even though he wasn't brilliant. But to go out and make a specific T-shirt for the event as well.
Oh, fine that WWE is always if there's an opportunity to make money, they will take it.
Wow,
that's a very cynical approach, Mr. Turbo.
Remember, they've got to the point where they can turn over T-shirts really, really quickly in terms of design. I mean, they're usually no good. But
and they don't bloody sell.
I don't know. They seem to have brought their design team out for the OC though.
Oh yeah.
That's not them bringing them. They've been sitting on those designs. They've been sitting on shit for the club for about 2 years.
They just needed
waiting for stuff to happen, and then nothing did. Okay, so first things first was, dear God, the entrances. And I know Taker's is normally long, but he also had Roman's on top of that. And Roman's is pretty long now. it felt like Roman was on his third playthrough of his music, to be honest. By the time the gong went, oh, but I tell you what, Taker was, as we said, motivated to impress upon people that.
Let's be fair. I mean, the biggest complaint of Taker is now he's in his 50s. He's going to be too old to move around. A tag match was going to be the best way to do it because he has time to rest. He can come in and he can do his big moves. And
How old's Taker now?
50 plus something.
Oh, it feels like he's been 50 plus for. Let me just look this up very quickly. I'll tell you somebody who is 50 as of this week of recording, and that's Triple H.
Isn't Shane McMahon in his late 40s as well?
Yeah. Oh, so Taker's 54.
Yeah.
I was going to say he was in his mid 50s.
He's at 54, and then his hips replaced and all sorts of shit. and he's actually in pretty decent.
He's not the only one who's just had a hip replacement.
You as well, John? You've had your hip replaced?
Why would I?
He's the Bionic Scotsman, ladies and gentlemen. There's a T-shirt coming to the LMC store very, very soon. As soon as I've got the design sorted. Bionic Scotsman.
I think that should be the first LMKO.
Is it just a skull with a cross on it?
Yeah, exactly that. It's a skull with
a blue skull with a white cross on it.
Yeah, the salt. Oh dear. Yeah, I tell you what. I really enjoyed this.
It was a fun little exhibition match. Yes,
absolutely. It was more than what I expected because I thought it was going to be being like previous kind of like outings with Taker being it, because obviously the last tag match he was in, he was partnered up with Kane against and
Kane could Taker was coming back from rehabbing
on that one.
Kane could barely move.
Mm-hmm. And Triple H injured himself.
Triple H was injured.
Kane's mask came off.
Sean was there and feeling awkward.
Sean was aerodynamic, I believe.
Sean was aerodynamic.
But of course, but with this match,
Samson, he's like all his hair went, all of his sort of talent seemed to disappear as well. It was a really bad match for Sean.
Yeah, but with this match, it was obvious. It was evident that Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns and Shane McMahon. Now, granted, Shane McMahon's obviously Shane McMahon. He'll try to work as best as he can to his abilities. But when you have Drew and Roman being the younger, more athletic kind of like duos, and of course later in Elias making the kind of like distractions and stuff like that.
I forgot about Elias, frankly.
It ended up being a decent kind of like match. I actually, many people were kind of like thinking that this was going to main event the show, but I'm glad they actually started the show and get people fired up essentially for the rest of the evening.
Because there's this underlying thing post Saudi, which is that supposedly Taker basically gave this list over of like people that he wanted to work with. If it's like he sort of effectively grabbed Vince by his grapefruits and just went, look, if you're going to do this to me again, this is who I'm going to work with. I want to work with this person. There
is also the building that between Taker and Drew that they seem to be
absolutely
for. because
it's believed that Drew was one of those names that he actually wanted to work with.
And I actually liked the face-offs that they had during the match.
The face-off at the beginning, Drew showing no fear, Taker almost like being almost amused by it in a sort of like impressed way. It's one of those little subtle things with the sort of selling from facials and stuff that seems to have been lost.
Did you see the images that came out post Extreme Rules of when Drew was first there and had a face-off against Taker and the size difference between then and now?
Yes. It's the fact that Drew's like just a shade taller. Just the tiniest little bit now. it was really, really good in that sense. They didn't go the disastrous route, which was to have Shane win.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Because he already had that. He already had that ego boost since Crown Jewel.
But it would have stuck with
Showdown, sorry.
It would have stuck with what they're trying to build him up to be.
Yeah. But Taker wasn't kept out of the wars. He got the top rope elbow through the table with a monitor slicing his shoulder open.
Ow.
Because it was fine. And he sort of landed on it and he sliced his shoulder. You saw. He took the Van Shaneinator, the coast to coast, with the bin full pelt, and effectively unprotected as well. You know, it was because he's had his arms. They're doing the arm with Drew holding the arms back. So that was good. The one thing that really impressed me though was something nobody really paid much attention to, but my God, it was impressive, and that was it was just a suplex. But Drew suplexed Roman. Roman was basically just like mostly he was just on his knees, and Drew just went boom and suplexed him from his kneeling position up and over.
Oh yeah,
that's brutal strength for that.
Oh yeah,
and Roman's not a small man.
No, he's like 300,
and he just
close to
did
300 pounds.
I mean, it wasn't the craziest feat of strength. I think you know, Turbo, what I'll be getting onto at some point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, don't worry. I will get to
that. That's not the most bonkers feature, but that is super impressive. And Drew looks so good. If you don't think he looks so good, that's because he had Shane McMahon next to him.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, with Drew still being part of this Shane McMahon thing and whatnot, I'm just... he's had too many losses... over the last few months.
But he hasn't come off weak because of it.
No, which is an interesting thing.
But it can only tally up so much. It's like you have to give them a solitary win sometime down the line.
I would argue he's not looked weak, not because of the booking, but because of him. Because of Drew's attitude, Drew's presence, and Drew's performance. But anyone else, I think they would look weak. It's just Drew's fucking Drew. I mean, you guys watching and listening, you know we love Drew. It's staggering to say that he's underrated.
Yeah. Like completely,
but he is,
and he could be easily a champion in
you
the
can
company.
give him. Has he had a belt since he came back?
No, well, not.
Apart from the NXT, apart from the NXT,
he hasn't had anything.
But we know those don't exist on the main roster.
No,
unless you're visiting.
Yeah.
Or unless you're visiting in the back or challenging John Cena.
Hey, remember, NXT is on the same level as Raw and SmackDown, guys. Remember that.
Supposedly.
But no, it's not. It's not. No, it's not. Because if it was, then Vince's fingerprints would be all over it and it would all go to shit.
The only way,
no, it's not.
The only way it will be respected as such is when people stop referring to Raw and SmackDown as the main roster.
Well, they need to work out between themselves A show and B show. So... they've got that to worry about. So anyway,
overall match was good.
Yeah, lovely with a great sit-up spot. With after the coast to coast, Shane pretty much shat himself. And we also had a moment at the end when Roman came in for the save with the spear. There was a great camera shot as Taker's like preparing to do a tombstone to Shane, and Drew comes up like through the ropes behind, and he's looming over the shoulder. And Taker sort of senses something in the air and turns around, and he's almost going to get Claymore, and then Roman steams in and spears him, which was really good. Camera work.
Good camera work. Yeah, I was about to say really good camera work on this.
Kevin Dunn was on form. just as well, because Christ, he's been off form recently, as in the last 2.5 years.
He must have had a really good cup of coffee.
Yeah, I think if he'd done badly, Taker would have gone and found him, beating the shit out of it probably. And Roman fed Shane into Taker, and Shane tried to do a scoot, tried to sort of start doing him up, but Taker wasn't quite ready, and sort of Taker covered for it a little bit, and sort of went, no, we're not having this again with the dodgy tombstone, and it boom, free count. Thank you very much indeed. As right, Shane took this. Not only did Shane not win, he took the pinfall. Very happy about that.
Exactly.
But the biggest thing was at the end. It was after the match finished, which was a nice mutual respect. And if you didn't see what Taker said to Roman as he sort of tapped him on the side, he went, "It's your yard." And the smile Roman gave at that spoke volumes. Because that was all the other stuff that's gone before with Project Roman and everything that was going on.
It's a subtle kind of like...
That was the torch.
Yeah.
Everything else with the Shield, nah. That was the torch. That was Taker giving him the proper props, even more than the Mania stuff.
Yeah,
I would say.
No, that
because Mania was the Mania thing was so contrived and everything.
Yeah. I want to move on a little bit. There's a lot we've spent on that match. The Raw Tag Team titles, Revival versus the Usos. Another solid match, in my opinion.
Tell us about it. Tell us about it, Turbo.
Fair tag team affair. It's like the tag team rate was, all right. It's like what was it? I notably remember one spot with obviously in wrestling the referee's always like the daftest kind of like person in the ring sometimes and whatnot, and he always missed the tag. Of course, poor John Cone.
John Cone. He's father the champion, damn it.
He got a full-on lashing by the crowd this tonight after he missed a tag and whatnot. And it's like, come on, guys! It's wrestling. It's 2019. It's like referees are supposed to miss these kind of like important tags and stuff like that. Don't chant that. But anyway, no, the work rate between the two tag teams was very good. Usos, oh boy, it's like there was one time where they were doing their double dive on the Revival, and because what was it? The announcer's table wasn't set up back up again. I think it was like Jimmy hit his head on the top of the announcement table that's on the floor, and he must have hit that quite hard because he pretty much slapped it after the dive, meaning that he must have just like did a number on himself. Probably be the reason why he drank so much in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, knocked himself silly, and then forgot he actually needed to drive.
Yeah, but
again.
But no, Revival pulled off a really good surprise, win with the Shatter Machine. I love their Shatter Machine, kind of like finisher and whatnot. It's always nice that it always comes out of sometimes literally nowhere at times, and it definitely was a good kind of like surprise this time around. I mean, other than that, it's like it was just a fair tag team kind of like match. It was like between the two because they have worked together several times over, and it's like we always say with the Usos with other tag teams like the New Day and whatnot, they tend to have that good chemistry and whatnot to work on each other. And again, they showed it off fairly well.
Pete, what did you think of that match?
I enjoyed it. A standard Uso fare. The Usos are very quickly, well, not very quickly, they have been for a while, been one of those teams where it's very hard to get a bad match out of them.
No.
And the Revival, as we all know, are just strong. Mm-hmm. They're just really good. When they're allowed to let loose, they're always fun to watch, especially the Usos as well. The Usos make for a great match every time. I don't think there's been an Uso match in recent memory that I could actually say was bad. Just the storylines that Vince
it is always just the storylines that
Usos kind of flip-flop as well from like goofy to deadly serious. We're gonna lock you up on
we see that we saw that between them competing for the SmackDown titles last month to this month for the Raw titles.
And flip-flop. They're either super serious or utter clowns.
Absolutely.
It depends which one you get. I agree with you on Shatter Machine. Shatter Machine's like this generation's 3D. It really needs to be protected as like the almost out of nowhere one. But that should be a tag team feud that is not kicked out of. That should be the end game. Or the ball game, if you're
indeed
Mr. Layfield.
Yeah.
The match that everybody was looking forward to.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Aleister Black versus Cesaro.
The stupidest of build-ups to it. Didn't bloody care. Absolute didn't care. Just put them in a ring and just let them go. In fact, could you put them in the ring again, please, and let them go some more?
They did
best
actually.
Best of 5, perhaps. Best of 7. Best of 9.
I mean, granted, what was it? Their rematch at SmackDown the following night, or like 2 nights later, was just as impactful.
I have not seen that. I did not realize.
You should go. You should go watch the highlight on the YouTube channel because
I will do that after this.
Yeah,
because
there's a really good spot. There's a really good spot where Aleister Black does Black Mass into Cesaro's face. Now, granted, it didn't happen during this match at Extreme Rules, but in that match, kicked him, mouth guard flew right out of his mouth.
Nice.
So it's
nice.
If that spot was in this match, by God, it would have been like even more better on top of how awesome it was, because already it was bloody awesome. Cesaro, like Kev was saying earlier tonight, where the feats of strength were showcased quite well during the show, and it was notable at the start of the show, and then in this match, it was showcased tenfold with Cesaro, because he is literally the Swiss Superman of WWE. I know it's a cliche and it's been a tagline
he's been cool,
but he proves it. He proves it time and time again. And
there were like 3 moments as well. It wasn't just one moment in this match. 3 instances, like the Labours of Hercules, the 3 moments of Cesaro. So number 1, we've got the double knees, the Meteora off the top, just catching him like a full a grown ass man flying out this guy, landing on your shoulders, his dick in your face. Just catches him just a couple of steps backwards. That's freaking ridiculous. Number 1. We had again, Black's a pretty beefy lad.
Yeah, he's
very compact, but you can tell there's a lot. There's a lot there. Number 2 is his usual was a normal Cesaro one, but I think it was because he'd been angered beforehand. It looked slightly more impressive, which is just the gut wrench pickup. Just pick up a man from the ground. that he made that look so easy. It literally looked like nothing to him. It just put no effort. And the last one was the dive off the top. And he caught him. So Asma just dove at him, and he caught him, stopped him from fucking spiking himself headfirst into the mat. Number one, because that could have been super dangerous. But just freaking plucks him out of the air. Everything about the angle, the weight, the timing was all kind of wrong with that move. But it's Cesaro.
Yeah, but nothing to put past Aleister Black either, because he put on quite a hell of a show to show his like brutal striking and whatnot. The knees he was producing in like obviously he had the mirror attempt, but some of the other kind of like knee strikes he was doing in that match was brutal, especially the one where Cesaro springboard off the middle rope.
His jaw, you just saw his jaw just go.
Yeah, right into there. Really good one. And then, of course, the Black Mass at the end.
Black Mass. It went tit for tat. We had some psychological stuff going on at the beginning with Cesaro doing the cross leg, the sit down. But also, there was a point in that match where the strikes were getting harder and harder, to the point where even the crowd was sort of like going, "Oh God, jeez!" And the commentary as well. Graves was beside himself at one point because it's like he couldn't quite believe how hard everyone was being hit. Angry Cesaro is a thing I want to see more of, by the way. Angry Cesaro. This barbarian man who's like, oh yeah, he'll hit you. No. Angry Cesaro doing alternating European uppercuts, getting progressively more devastating, and looking like he's going to just flay your skin off with them. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of these two. They don't need a belt. Just let them go as a nice, better than you storyline. Go on, just let them go. Have Sheamus get jealous. He's spending all this time dealing with this Aleister Black when we've got tag team stuff to do, and have a nice story that way, and then split up the bar because the bar.
I think the bar is already
the bars run their course. That's a good way of doing it. Actually, that would be a really good way of doing it, because wasn't it like a best of 5, best of 7 that got them together in the first place?
Yeah, it was.
So do that and have it be the best of that splits them apart. Pete's bored. Let's move on.
It was a good match. I enjoyed watching it. I think everybody was too expectant to see Aleister Black come back out. At least Cesaro's promo work coming up to this match was not as strong as it could have been. And then especially on this SmackDown after it, where they're just like, I want to pick a fight with Aleister Black. I'm just like, this promo work is really not strong.
I in deference to that, considering how scripted obviously that segment is a bit, I just think it was really, really shit script he was given.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't do much with it.
The promos that were written for both guys and whatnot has just been lackluster. But really, in all honesty,
I just wanna start seeing Black go on a tear of people now, and I eventually want to see him versus Shinsuke for that US title. Probably not going to happen. It's probably going to be Shinsuke versus Ali for a while, judging by recent stuff. But yeah, I just want to see Black go on a tear. Fuck it, put him in the main event picture for all I care. He's a big monster. He can do well in there.
Yeah.
Also, I love the fact that nobody knows the words to Aleister Black's theme tune. It's like, whoa, evil! That's the only thing anyone knows.
Some things in life are not
Doesn't
truly
need
good.
anything. Yeah, just
Some things,
rise up. Yeah,
some things in life are truly evil.
Yeah, just the crowd just like, look, show us him raising up from the ground. Show us the one camera shot of the shit candle that you've got on the side.
Take away that stupid plank sound. Take away the bullet of Ricochet's entrance.
Yeah,
I'm so tired of it already.
Well, it's the same with Ricochet's Ricochet bullet thing.
You didn't even notice until I pointed it out to you.
Yeah, I know. Well, I only just noticed it because I haven't seen the intros because I don't watch Raw.
Ricochet's intro I don't watch them in full. Well, Ricochet's interesting, and I don't know why they do that for. Yes, look,
because it's meant to be a flashy entrance
from above.
It's meant to be a flashy entrance without pyro.
Yeah, and he is the one.
It doesn't work on a stage that large. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Everybody, you do because the way you do look like. Okay, what is up there?
The lights.
It's God shining down on the one and only.
Is it we're gonna get a tag team?
Are you saying that every match that Ricochet is in, he's in a handicap match tagging with God? Is that what you're saying?
No.
I am astonished that they haven't put God into the Hall of Fame.
No, it's the lunar. It's the lunar
say that
blessing.
Now. Soon they'll run out of celebrities.
Hey! Look, I'm just saying that God's body of work.
He lost to Vince McMahon, though.
Pretty, you know.
He lost to Vince McMahon.
Pretty impressive.
That's in the record books. God lost to Vince McMahon.
He has literally had like a millennia. He's been doing this. He's a first generation. He's an original.
Can we move on?
Yes, aye.
God's the only one who's beaten abeyance.
Let's talk about a bizarre match of the 2-on-1 handicap match for the WWE SmackDown's women's title. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus Bayley. Thoughts?
Bayley.
Why?
It was okay.
Springs to mind. Why?
I mean, I don't know. If like Alexa is still not like 100% or competitive, and to try to keep her protected by having this as a handicap match for the title, it was a bit meh. Like this was probably one of the weaker matches of the card. Like in terms of like actual matches rather than events and whatnot that would happen. At certain points and whatnot. Like obviously the promo before this match, which immediately was like before it, where Alexa gave Nikki Cross her own T-shirt in Nikki's design.
This made me so mad.
It's like, nah. And of course, the Street Profits coming in. And it's like, I don't know why they're still
just visiting.
Yeah,
because they're there.
Just coming in to see
the guy.
Hashtag
not going to be used.
Hashtag for the kids. That's why they're there.
For the kids.
Are they
building up brand awareness? You know, they're not going to come up onto the roster for like another year and a half.
That's exactly why they're there, to get their teenage demographic up. They're there for the kids, literally. That's all they're there for.
Right. So, the thing that made me really mad about that was because it was such a very obvious setup for something they could do, and they didn't do it.
No. Yeah. Because...
Which was because they a whole big thing about Alexa's still trying to prove that I'm really your friend, and as you mentioned, here's a nice T-shirt. They came out wearing the T-shirts.
Yeah.
And then Bayley came out, and by the time Bayley goes through, they're taking the T-shirts off, thus negating any point with the T-shirts. What you wanted in that entire sequence was Nikki's character is so proud of everything and her friend. She would not have taken that off. She would have kept it on. And then you have the situation whereby, well, what if Bayley rips the t-shirt off of her? And then it progresses the storyline. It's a tool to progress the storyline.
Logic in WWE? Nonsense.
Look, I've watched AEW. I've had an idea of stuff that makes sense in terms of relationships and how important various things are. I've been spoiled, okay?
Yeah, how dare you?
But no, in all seriousness, if they were going to, continue the whole, well, Bayley's, not Bayley's the enemy here.
Yeah,
Bayley's and the idea that in Nikki's mind that Bayley's the heel, that would have been a good way of doing it. Because we had before in the build-up to everything, obviously, Bayley just whacking the taste out of Nikki's mouth because she's finally had enough of all this shit and just taking care of business on her own. This was also a match that was let down by the situation surrounding it, in that WWE, for the entirety of this storyline, has basically been going, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, where's Sasha Banks?
She's meant to be
not here.
SummerSlam, isn't she?
Yeah, but there was the whole thing with Nikki going, "Oh, you haven't got a friend. You don't know what it's like to have a friend," and that was one of the things that set Bayley off.
You could have asked the actual Scottish person to do the accent there, Kev. You could have, we bring him on for one reason, and you don't let him do the accent.
Sure. Yeah, okay. Can you do a nice female voice there, Turbo? Nice impression of Nikki Cross.
You don't know anything.
Holy shit, she's here. Sorry, Turbo.
You don't have a friend. I got a friend in Alexa. That's what she's like.
I'm looking forward to...
What's Killian Dane like, Turbo? What's he like to live with?
He's Irish.
I know, but what's he like to live with? I'm just
fuck off.
Wow,
you were so just might be there. It's but they've sort of gone TC, isn't it? And of course, it did nothing. For Bayley did it on her own, and thus Bayley's good. And
she did it her way.
Electra's still being protected.
Yeah.
Nikki's upset because she cost her friend. And
yeah. But I will point out that there was a really good submission spot where Bayley did a reverse cloverleaf style.
It was a death lock. It was a death lock.
Oh, death lock.
It was an old school. Well, they didn't call it an Indian. They called it Indian death lock on.
They didn't call it anything.
They just called. Graves did call it as a death lock.
All right, okay. And then Alexa tried to break it up, but Bayley
rolled it, and then Bayley rolled her back, which was nice,
and put her into a cross.
Normally, it's roll into the ropes and it's broken, but no, that was like a nope. It's no, not giving up on it. I'm suddenly using the death lock. I'm happy. I'm good for that.
Yeah,
that's all good.
So it was. That was
as bad
as. Spot.
Yeah, the match wasn't as bad as people were making it out to be.
No.
Yeah, but it was still not that strong overall. It was, it could have been better, but no, it's and of course the notable the storyline of whether or not Sasha Banks will come in to help Bayley and whatnot, or screw Bayley, whatever.
She's coming to screw Bayley.
This is the double of those never happen.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what though, in the build up to this, the one person I was actually on Alexa's side with the way they portrayed a lot of the actual promo work in the build up to this. Do you know
which is why it's been kind of awkward, and yet at the same time, sort of you kind of you clever so and so Alexa, because Alexa is making it out very successfully to be the innocent party.
Absolutely. Let's move on. To a match that I think a lot of people were going to sigh at, which actually came off very strong. The last man standing match, Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley. I think
I'm gonna lay this on the line now. I think that was best, if not the best, last man standing matches I've ever seen.
It was pretty damn good, yeah. Very
I
strong.
will. I can commend your opinion on that, because this was actually a really good.
Do you agree with it though? You can commend his opinion all you want. Do you agree with it?
No, I can agree with it as well. It's like, I mean, what was the last what was the last one that we had recently?
Well, Ms. Shane.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was actually that was still a good last man standing match as well.
Yes. So really, two really good last man standing matches within
the same decade.
I will.
Yeah.
I will make one question though. At the end of this match, how did the referee know they weren't standing when he couldn't see them?
Look, you want logic in wrestling, Pete.
I do.
Where is he going?
I don't want logic. I want eyesight.
Well, he didn't reappear after.
But it was John Connor again. He didn't get the tag in the USO one. What did you expect him?
Yeah.
Didn't have his contacts in. He was convinced. He was convinced that big plank of wood was actually Braun Strowman.
That's it.
That's pretty much it.
But no, I mean, how they went around doing this match? They went up through the crowd into the kind of like foyer kind of like area where the merch, like a mock merch table area would be and whatnot. Messed around and destroyed that a bit. Went back out there, back down, then did a few more kind of like spots near and around the ring.
It was a little bit Attitude Era, wasn't it? In terms of those sort of backstage fighting.
Yeah. Actually, making the pay-per-view what it is extreme, essentially, to a certain degree. And then it would accommodate to them going up to that area, which is a bit. It's kind of weird how it was like all thing. I mean, granted, what was it? The announce teams were getting
they got absolutely creamed
again. It's like what was it?
Poor Funaki.
Especially the international announce teams that are like on the side and whatnot. They're getting into more trouble now than they have in the last couple of years that they've been established. It's like
I was laughing so hard because the Mandarin speaking team sort of they kept being just missed, and then at the end of it, when the two of them were finally going away, they sort of went back together. It was sort of like we're still here.
Here's the thing: on the WWE Network, you can change the audio. I want to change the audio.
We should do that. We should do that for that particular moment and just find out what the hell happened with the Mandarin team and the Japanese team, certainly.
Yeah. But no, after that kind of like moment, they went up this bit where I think there was like a few plants
just a few
up there where, what was it? Lashley threw one of the crowd members into Braun Strowman to try to make a distraction and whatnot. And there was another fan who was
Extreme Rules, grab a fan by the legs, start whacking them.
And there was another fan who was like, who was pretty much doing the whole mannerisms of a referee. He's like, "What are you doing? No, stop! Like what?" It's like, and every other fan around them was not doing that whatsoever. Everything's like, Hughes like, "That's a plant there." But no, it would lead up to this little area here, which
what was with that?
Which was like
this shonky ass wooden barrier.
Yeah, it's like
a bit of wood that they've stuck together.
Yeah, it was like the opening to a sheep pen or something like that, and it's like our pig pen. It's like, why is that doing at the edge of like a preface that's going towards down to the
this
lower
health
level?
And safety nightmare they came to, and I think it was supposed to break open. But all he did was kick it. It just neatly passed it.
That's where you should have had Aleister Black's sound effect opening. It's like
yeah. Oh, just then
the power slam down into the boxes below and whatnot.
And that was the only bit that was that the finish was the only bit that silly.
And the winner of the match was the Kool-Aid Man.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, bang
Ooh,
through.
yeah.
But there are guys listening who may not have seen this. You may have thought from what we've just said, because it was Braun Strowman pretty much all the way through the bits that Turbo just said, the bits we've been talking about, that Lashley looked weak, dude. He did not. There is the section nearest the finish where Lashley was pretty much like on the floor on his knees, just begging Braun Strowman to hit him, and he kept getting up, and he did not stop, and somehow in Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley, I want to see more of these two just go at it. It's the same thing as the Aleister Black Cesaro one. I just want to see. It was the perfect step for them to just have. These guys are really strong and utter badasses. We finally made fucking Bobby Lashley in WWE look like the absolute hard ass he is.
Shame it took them a year to do it.
Yeah, and on his second go around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to see any more of Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley, though. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it has been overdone. Like
I'm happy for them to see more, but it has to be ridiculous stipulations like last match.
Yeah.
Straight wrestling match doesn't work.
I was going to say
apart. Yeah.
I think the only escalation for them is Hell in a Cell now. Proper blood feud.
Oh no! You have to go something stupider. Like
cage match. Watch them climb over.
No. Like Gulf of Mexico match. have them go out to the Gulf. Because what was it? CM Punk and Chavo Guerrero Jr. had that match where it was a Gulf of Mexico match, and whoever was thrown into the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, Edge and Cena
have something like that.
You make it the dumbest stipulation ever, which has no reference. So you make it a kendo stick on a pole match, because they're the type of things that they just beat each other out the kendo stick and then just be like, just grab the stick and just throw it.
No, they grab the pole. They'd end up grabbing. Strowman would grab the pole and rip it out, and then hit him with the pole. That's what happened.
No. Better yet, what was it? Michael Cole on a forklift match. Whoever grabs Cole and beats each other up with Michael Cole.
Again, one of them will just pick up the entire forklift, as been proven. I would like to see an empty arena match, and have it like one of them is like thrown down the stairs and it breaks down the chairs rather than the stands, and it breaks half the stand, and then you have like for the entirety of the show, that section's all taped off. They've got to tape off enough, tarp off enough. It's a really clever way of actually making that and utilising it. Oh, it's dangerous up there, so we haven't been able to use that bit of seating, and just have devastation from the match as like a backdrop for the entirety of it.
Clever.
Yeah, I can see that. Let's move on to another really good match, actually. The WWE SmackDown Tag Team Triple Threat title match of the New Day of Big E and Xavier Woods versus Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus Heavy Machinery. Thoughts?
I think the result here was correct.
I'd say so.
That's all.
I was surprised, but no. No, I would agree that it was the result was good, and the match itself was amazing. Like the three was working off each other very well.
I think it's hard for the New Day as a tag team to have a bad match these days.
No, but hell, even Heavy Machinery has gotten to work well with within the division with all the teams that are there.
Heavy Machinery has benefited a lot from having to work with the teams that they have.
Yeah.
It's really funny because a lot of people would talk about how the SmackDown tag team division is garbage, and then you've got these three teams.
Yeah, but it's just these three teams. There's not really much else on the roster that's that's part of the division at the moment. That's why they keep.
What happened to oh my god, what are they called? They were an NXT team that came up and are now just essentially just jobbers.
AOP?
No. The ones that were working with the Fashion Police. I want to say the Illuminati guys.
Oh, the Ascension.
Oh, the Ascension.
What
Yeah.
happened to them? What are they doing?
What happened to them was the Raw anniversary.
I think it was one of the anniversary shows. Yeah.
And getting just creamed by all the legends and being made a fool out of, and
Yep.
it was literally critical hit on them.
Wasn't
as a
that
team.
like literally a year ago?
No, it was like a few.
A couple of years.
It's ridiculous how underutilized they've been, and of course I think one of them was injured recently as well, so that's probably one of the major reasons why they haven't been.
And
used.
the other one's not going to get.
And then you've got push. And then you got like the Clones and the B team, and
the Clones are still there. Everybody.
Ridiculous. But anyway, to the match itself, the guys were all fantastic. Like Heavy Machinery. Oh, this is over. Like,
yeah,
nothing. He's like the most over thing in the match, apart from the New Day, who were really having an awesome time. The double, what was it? Suplex attempt that Rowan tried to do on, I think it was both members of Heavy Machinery. I think it was.
Yeah.
Or like the claw attempt and whatnot. That was fun. Or attempted. But the kind of like psychology and whatnot. Daniel Bryan getting the sneaky tag in to then try to get a headbutt onto Big E. This was like leading up to the ending of the match, and then whatnot. I totally forgot about Otis trying. Now, of course, Big E obviously did a dive, his spear through the middle ropes down the outside. Now, granted, it wasn't as bad this time around as in previous iterations, thank God. But follow up on that was Otis thinking he could do the same. And he was like getting himself jacked up, and he's ready to go. He's like, I'm gonna do it, take it. And he goes, tries, gets bounces off the rope, goes to the other side, and then just goes through the ropes, and then just down on them.
I kind of Tucker.
Yeah, Tucker was able to fly with that crossbody from the top as well afterwards as well. That was really good. And then with them, they're again, like I was talking about, Revival being a really good tag team, kind of like a lot of good tag team maneuvers. Heavy Machinery have a lot of good tag team maneuvers as well. I mean, like I think they call it the trash compactor or something like that.
Something like that.
So something like that. That's their kind of like finisher. Is a really good one, and they've got another one, another good tag team maneuver where like Tucker throws an opponent to Otis, and he does a slam, like power slam, onto it. No, the ending of the match was really good, where Big E was going up against Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan was just like, I
love me serious all business Big E.
Yeah, he was in all. He was like this is like Big E's kind of like Hulk up moments, where he was just saying, he's like, come on, hit me, and Daniel Bryan's like trying, and he slaps him and whatnot, and then obviously it would lead up to the finish where Daniel Bryan would take the midnight hour, and by God, the crowd was hot for that finish.
You know what? I've conflated that. I've conflated the Cesaro match with the dive off the top with this match, because it was Big E catching. It was Big E catching Bryan.
Because he did that.
Yes, and it was Bryan nearly killing himself again.
Oh yeah,
Okay. There was more Cesaro strength.
Wait until he's in the ring with the cruiserweights, guys. Watch him dive onto them some more.
Oh boy. But no, I mean, overall, this is like a really awesome match, and there was really like the tag team matches on this card in general was like absolutely great, you know, which is normally like normally I'm not too like interested in the tag division per se and whatnot. But no, I mean tonight's matches that had like a lot of kind of like tag matches, they were really good. And of course, this was just another one. That was awesome. And New Day winning the titles and then what was it? Xavier Woods just going and saying, "We got all of them. We got that." You don't have the IC title, boys. You don't have all.
Well, no, they've since said there's more belts out there, and we'd like them more.
Okay. All right. That was later. That was after the fact he was saying we can say, "We got them. We got them."
Then their celebration was interrupted, of course, by Mr. Paul Heyman sneaking in and stealing the microphone and going out to say, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Beast is here. Am I lying or am I Paul Heyman?"
You are.
I would say the truth, am I Paul Heyman?
Am I telling the truth?
Smoke and mirrors.
Paul Heyman, yeah.
The next match after the Paul Heyman thing, though, a lot of people rate it as pretty high. I'm a little bit on the fence about that.
I am also.
AJ Styles with the OC versus Ricochet for the United States Championship.
It was a decent match. I mean, it wasn't the best on the card. I mean, Ricochet had his moments, like being able to do several spots with AJ and whatnot. It was decent, and the final spot with the Stars Clash from I think the second row?
like the inverted. It's like the inverted Super Styles Clash.
Yeah,
that was good.
My problem with this whole original club shtick is that everything they're doing so far is just exactly the same they were doing when they were with Styles.
First time around,
and it's like, okay, it's just you guys as heels again, which is cool.
Which was also what they were doing in New Japan, essentially.
And also what they were doing in that small period in WWE where they came back with Balor.
Yeah.
Have we got use for these two characters now? Yes, we do.
Well, I imagine it's part of their new contract that they've signed that they get to work with AJ.
Oh yeah, they got pots of money coming in the next 5 years.
It's actually funny because I just recently saw an episode of Why Did You Come to Japan that featured Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. They were like the first segment of the episode, and they were just hilarious because they picked up the interviewer. They had her in a body slam position, so they were about to body slam her. It was funny,
and then they did because the heels is Japan.
That's it. I don't know. It was a standard AJ Ricochet affair. It's like we'd seen it on Raw several times over the past couple of weeks, building up to this feud. So
yeah,
this is why I'm a bit on the fence about it, because it's nothing different. They'd given away the match already,
Yeah, all that. I mean, we've got title change, and AJ has a belt again, which I'm all for.
I think he just hasn't had the Intercontinental or a tag belt at this point, has he?
Yes, he hasn't had any of those, so he hasn't got the Grand Slam yet.
Yeah, no, he had the US for a long time because he took it off Cena.
Yeah.
And was fucking around with it on SmackDown for a bit, and then he obviously went for the heavyweight title. He hasn't held the Universal yet, hasn't held an Intercontinental, and hasn't held a tag. When the club were a thing over in Japan, I'm not sure, is the Freebird rule a thing outside of WWE?
I mean, it's a general thing, but it depends whether or not the company chooses to acknowledge it and whether they've got a trio.
Would the club in WWE be a Freebird rule with the tag belts, or would they just stick them on Gallows and Anderson?
Gallows and Anderson.
Boo.
I think
There'd be an easy way to give AJ a fucking tag belt.
Yeah, he is a 2-time WWE champion and a 3-time, and current, of course, United States champion.
Yep.
We'll get back onto the Freebird Raw in a minute.
I just thought this was standard fare, really. I don't think it was as highly rated. It's a good match. Again, just like the Usos and the New Day, it's hard to have a bad match with AJ, and I think that's why people rate it so high. Like, you'd be going outside of the norm if you had a bad match with Styles. So, I don't know. I just wasn't very hot on this match.
That's fair enough.
Shall we move on to the Blink or You'll Miss It match between Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler?
And shockingly, not the shortest match on the card we ended up having.
True. That is actually very true.
By 1 second. Oh, this was the thing that happened.
But it was obviously what would happen afterwards is the thing. Now, of course, Kevin Owens, for the run up to Extreme Rules, he was being shafted by Shane McMahon and whatnot. And he's obviously not a fan of Ziggler being this less of a, for lack of a better kind of like a word, a dick, essentially. Owens was just like in this attitude where it's like, I'm getting tired of getting screwed over. I'm getting tired of not being shown. He is basically being like a pseudo CM Punk.
It's amazing how face Kevin Owens is the same as heel Kevin Owens, except everybody.
But he's right still, you know.
Yeah, my only problem is that apparently while Kevin's stuff has been unscripted and he's been actually allowed to run free with the mic and he's been given that freedom, which is great. It's great in 2019 to actually see performers in WWE given open unscripted mic time. I hate the fact that WWE are leaning into the storyline, which is essentially everything.
It's about Shane McMahon.
Well, no. It's because everything that Kevin said is what all of the WWE content creators, like all the wrestling content creators on the YouTubes and the podcasts and everything else have been saying. He literally has just said exactly what they're saying, and the WWE have lent into it and are saying it by their commentators and everything else. That's the part I dislike.
Kevin Owens, the voice of the people who already have a voice.
This is the thing, because if you go back to what you're saying and saying he's the CM Punk of the current age, John, everything that CM Punk did in that original pipe bomb, none of that was really echoed or re-said again by any of the commentary team. Whereas the SmackDown commentary team are echoing everything that Owens has said.
I see what you mean there. I see what you mean there.
That's my only problem with this. You know,
the best part of this entire shebang with Shane McMahon was the SmackDown with the microphones, and if this entire thing was worth one thing, it was them turning off Owens' mic and him just getting another one and going, "Hey, idiot! There's more than one microphone."
Yeah, and then
and then gets a headset.
Yeah, and yeah, that was so good. That was so good. Yeah. But yeah, coming soon to the Kevin Owens batch of T-shirts is Arrive, Stunner, Leave.
Yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what more there is to say about this. Let's move on. Kofi Kingston versus Samoa Joe for the WWE Championship.
But Pete, what if Kofi loses the belt? Then he'll be the only one that doesn't have a belt. Oh
So
no, says Corey Graves. Oh no, he could be. If he failed, what if Kofi fails? He won't have a belt, and the other two, the New Day, will. Yeah, you kind of remember how there is this free bird rule for them. Kofi's a double champ at the minute, and yet as soon as New Day won the title, commentary were desperately pushing. It's like, oh, Kofi needs to be the one to finish this off and make it the proper celebration for the New Day. So they go off with all the belts. What if he loses? He won't. Well, if he loses, he doesn't have a belt. He'll have a belt regardless. Literally, he'll have a belt regardless whether he lost or won.
yep.
It's utterly stupid. But we had the nice build up for this match. We had Samoa Joe obviously being Samoa Joe.
Mm-hmm.
One of these days,
He will be rewarded for his work.
One of these days, WWE will not show Samoa Joe as a big, clumsy, large guy who gets beaten by roll-ups. One day
Yeah.
it'll happen.
I'll tell you what. There's actually an amusing thing on Up Down Down the other day. Because, again, at the time of recording, Samoa Joe is the Up Down Down champion. And he was surprised with a challenge by the Iconics, actually. But it was quite funny because he turned to Woods, who was not the character, and just said, about this, all of a sudden, this surprise, we're dragging you off and you're defending now in like just like an arcade basketball game. And Joe said, "Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, we can't have me having a belt around here, can we?"
It's true.
It was like very. He was smiling. But it was just like, "Oh yeah, he knows the score." And Wood started cracking up. But yeah, he can't have me holding a belt for any long time. You're not allowed that.
Yeah.
I see what you're trying to do.
It was a good match. I'm starting to think that Kofi was in a better position chasing the belt than he is holding the belt, which is
It's
annoying.
it's always the case for character like people like Kofi and whatnot.
Yeah, but look at Rollins as well. Rollins' current championship reign has been dire. Like, he's essentially been relegated to being the man's man at this point in terms of his championship reign. It's like he was better chasing the belt against Lesnar than he was having the belt.
Kofi's in a different situation. Whereas, yes, there's been like the sort of vague threat of Brock in this run-up. I don't think anybody remotely thought Brock would go after Kofi.
No.
Yeah.
But what's happened with Kofi and his defense, it's been like, oh, who's the monster of the week? It's been like, there's a cycle of one guy, he's gone, here's another gone, and we're continuing that now because the next one in line is Mr. Randall Keith Orton.
The three most devastating words in the WWE universe. Randall.
Yes.
They should just go all anime with this then. If that's the case, if this is like a monster of the week scenario.
It is literally okay. Well, here's.
I mean, it's fine to have rotating challenges. It's fine. It's just
when they don't
Kofi at the moment. Kofi is becoming just super cocky. I want to be the greatest WWE champion. I will beat all comers. And he's coming off as super cocky about it rather than just being like he's very. It's amazing because they've made him do a lot more solo mic work away from Xavier and E, and I think it's specifically to try and make him his own man with the belt rather than part of the New Day, which is bad for a start because they should always be together all the time. You know, when they're doing the commentary work, because that's how it works. That's what they should be doing. But
that's how it got all over in the first place.
It's just I don't know. I don't mind it being different challenges. I just would like not coherent, proper story, proper wrestling matches, and I don't want Samoa Joe to just look surprised every time he loses via roll up because he's a big guy. You know? Because it's happening way too often with Joe. That's the really a dumb, annoying thing when it comes to Joe.
I'm just sort of looking back through his defenses very, very quickly.
Who?
I mean, Kofi's general matches. So obviously Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Extreme. So Stomping Grounds Ziggler.
Mm-hmm. Ziggler before that.
At Super Showdown.
Mm-hmm.
Money Bank Owens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Remember when Owens was a heel?
Yeah.
If I do a lot of dark match on 205 Live, I'll tell you that much.
But it's just I don't know. I'm almost looking forward to seeing Shane McMahon versus Kofi at this point, just to see what they do with it. Because if you I'll talk about it later. But
he's a 4th generation star, everybody.
It's happening. Yeah. Let's talk about the winner take all mixed tag team Extreme Rules match, where Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans, where if they defeat Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, they get the Raw Women's title and the WWE Universal title, and if they lose, then they no longer get a championship shot while they hold the belts, one assumes.
Yeah.
This match was not as bad as I was expecting it to be.
But it was still a little, shall we say, needed.
For those of you who are not watching the video, Kev's look of sheer, I want to say disappointment.
Continue. You continue with your description of stuff.
Go on, John.
I'm holding back. Go on.
No, I'm just wondering what P has to say.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Go on.
I enjoyed the match.
Anything to elaborate on it?
No, I you guys are the commentary. I'm here to host the show and say if I like it or not, and pop in with the odd bit of this.
But we want you to say stuff.
I say stuff. I say enough stuff.
Say more.
I said more stuff for the Kofi match. Look, I chime in with stuff, and a lot of my commentary has been noted seems to echo a lot of what the content creators seem to say. So this is why I leave it to you guys who look more in depth at the things.
Okay.
After you, Toby.
Right. So with me, I thought it was okay. It wasn't fantastic. It was kind of annoying how this was structured as a Extreme Rules match. That's an intergender match where the men fight the men and the women fight the women, and there's tags, and it's like, what? No, it only got really more exciting at the end of the match, really, in all honesty, where, where Baron Corbin did the end of days onto Becky Lynch. That's where things really picked up, and, people are like, oh, he didn't do that.
Commentary sold that.
Oh, yeah.
As the most evil thing in the history of America.
Yeah. And then Rollins just going full pelt. It's like the Kill Bill scene. It's just the scene. Rollins seeing red.
Oh yeah, why we need to edit that?
Yeah.
As a video of just putting that on there. Yes. Oh, I want to do that. I'll use it to do that.
But no, I mean, as the thing is, like, Lacey Evans, again, she's just not that great.
She needs more time in the oven.
Again, yes. we're just treading on the same water again with how this has all been, the case since both people won their titles. They've had the same feud with these two people for the last 2 months, and it was
and
It was a decidedly average affair.
It was definitely not something.
Parts of it, naming no names, was more average than others. Other parts were less average.
This definitely felt like a women's match with Baron Corbin and Seth Rollins.
Yeah. I was alright with Baron Corbin in this match. I think he added to it. But yeah, so I have a slight logic thing with how they're doing this and the reaction we got, obviously with the end of days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because because we're doing this Turbo mentioned we're doing this intergender without really making it intergender, and we're dancing around a lot of stuff because we're WWE. We're not going to sort of go one way or the other because heaven help us if we do. And the end result was that yes, Becky Lynch got end of dazed and Baron Corbin, you rat bastard. Prior to this, among the things that happened to Baron Corbin in the match was getting a chair kicked into his head by Becky Lynch.
Mm.
And there is this thing where it's there's the violence can be done from the women to the men,
but not the other way around.
And not the other way around. And in this instance, it was pretty much just retaliation for stuff that had been done to Baron Corbin. And WWE needs to come to some kind of agreement with itself as to where the line is. Because obviously it's a very difficult situation. There's obviously a moral element in there as to what you're showing and what you're promoting. Other promotions, that this doesn't exist. But it's WWE and they've got lots of commitments in terms of advertising and stuff. There's lots of organizations out there who would love to poke at WWE and say, why are you doing that? And that's wrong or that's wrong. Or what have you. Not that they do that at any other time, obviously. But they need to draw a line somewhere as to what they're happy with and kind of stick with it. Because at the minute, yes, Baron Corbin did a really bad thing. But if you hit me in the face with a chair, I might want to do something to you. He's allowed to defend himself.
Yeah.
And it was, it was lovely that we made the end of days a devastating thing in the world when, as always, the Deep Six looks so beautiful. But it needs something needs to happen. Unfortunately, something did happen.
Yeah, after this match.
After Rollins going absolutely fucking mental, which was a beautiful thing to see, and was the perfect finish for the match. It really was the perfect finish for the match. Okay, he fucking loses it, beats the shit out of Baron Corbin, gives him 3 stomps, pin, thank you very much for coming, how fucking dare you hit my girl. Yeah, then something did happen. Paul Heyman told the truth. And suddenly, all the good from the show, all the good from the show, the crowd were wrapped up in the moment and were cheering. I rather suspect after they left the arena, they probably fuck they were doing. Because Brock Lesnar appeared.
Here's the thing. Brock Lesnar is your new Universal Champion.
And we'll never see the belt again.
However,
it's gone.
However, I want to talk about what I mentioned earlier in the fact that it means that Rollins can chase, be better for chasing. You know, the bad side of this is we may not be getting the belt on television for a while again.
It's gone again.
Saying that
we successfully arguing his run with it was kind of but at least we had it.
Saying that, it does seem to be that Lesnar's going to be on TV, I believe, all the way in the run up to SummerSlam.
That's not a good thing either.
No, because he's not going to do Jack.
The most entertaining thing that Brock's done in the last 2 years was go like this and do a dance. That is the most entertaining he's been.
Yeah, Boombox Brock.
Party.
That was his whole thing for all of 2 months.
Yeah. I like how Brock Party was like a shirt for like a month and then they went back to Suplex City.
Yeah.
Great A.
There we go. So then being able to turn out shirts for quick sale.
Yeah. Big splash. Yeah.
I swear half of this is because Brock didn't want to carry the case around.
Should have given it to just Heyman then.
The bother of carrying the case around. He suddenly realised what an absolute faff it was to actually carry that case around all the time. Ask anybody who's had that case, by the way.
Just wait until Shane McMahon wins next year's Money in the Bank and then does the same thing as Brock with the feet dance as well.
Oh, God. Yes.
You've got that mental image now, haven't you?
No, I could just hear Corey Graves saying, "Here comes the Mr. Money in the Bank."
Yep.
He's been money his whole life, and now he is.
Let's wrap this up. Mr. John Turbo Finley looking so distraught in the corner. What is your rating for Extreme Rules 2019?
I'm gonna give this a solid 8, because the majority of the card was like good. It was just
he's rated a WWE show high. He's rated a WWE show higher than an AEW show, boys.
Has he?
He has. He did 7.5 for the last one.
Because last night that was the last Fight for the Fallen wasn't that great of a show in hindsight, but no, this was like between the two shows that we, AEW's Fight for the Fallen, and WWE's Extreme Rules. Extreme Rules was a much better show than AEW's Fight for the Fallen, sadly. And I'm saying 8 because there was really good matches on it. It's just there was like the whole Brock Lesnar cashing in moment was the bad thing and whatnot. But it's like and there was just a couple other kind of like moments, I suppose, that was like meh, and the main event was like at times, but it was mainly that main event that kind of like just notched it a little bit down for me, whatnot. It would have been a solid 9 had the main event been like all great and whatnot. But,
pretty high rating from you, I'll be honest.
Yeah, but yeah, 8 solid.
Mr. Kevin.
8 is indeed solid, which is why I'm giving it also an 8. It could have gone very close to 8.5, but there was sort of too many sort of dud moments. We had a match that wasn't a match, and the Brock thing was kind of a...
Two of those.
The Brock thing was kind of a letdown. The women's match... The women's match, they promoted it in the wrong direction with the payoff everyone was expecting, and it was flattened as a result of that. Both Aleister Black versus Cesaro and Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley. And I can't remember the last time I've done this for WWE. I've done it for AEW. I've gone back and re-watched the matches because I enjoyed them that much. I wanted to see more and wanted to see details. Obviously, I somehow fucked that up and ended up conflating the two
other matches
with the Daniel Bryan one earlier. But yeah, it was a really, really good pay-per-view. It wasn't the best wrestling on the planet, as Mr. Rollins has been insisting recently in his new role of corporate social media weapon that he seems to be doing, just massive WWE defense mode. But for WWE, it was a really nice step up. That said, it's interesting that it's the mid card and the undercard that are really doing the business, as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very WWE if you think about it.
Well, I mean, let's be fair. Their mid card and their undercard at the moment have a lot of top tier talent in there.
Yeah.
So it's not that unsurprising to see that they can pull off those sort of things. When you've got when you specifically got three different people, like two tag teams and a singles wrestler who it's really hard to have a bad match with holding the rest of that card high. It's not unsurprising at all.
Yeah, it shows the value. Also, somewhere
Over the rainbow,
there, sitting on a sun lounger, watching it on the TV, a gentleman by the name of Goldberg was going, "Oh, oh, that was good.
Oh God,
shit, it was me."
I think he knows it was him.
He knows it was him.
Stop headbutting walls. Fucking hell.
Stop headbutting walls. Hold on the tombstone yourself. Quite a few things. Anyway, 8. So I'm very interested to hear what Pete's mark is.
He's probably going to give it a 9.
Mr. Pete, go on. How much was it? Was it 11?
He thinks I'm going to give it a 9?
11.
8 is a very solid number on your guys' wacky scale of how you want to do it.
Wacky scale? It's
all over the place.
Wacky scale of 10.
I am giving Extreme Rules a 6.5. It was good, but the down points of this and everything I've said over the course of the last hour and a half, just bring it further down. I think the promo work leading up to the matches, to make some of the matches not make sense and everything else. I had more enjoyment watching Smackville today than I did watching Extreme Rules, and that was an hour long.
I was going to ask about Smackville after this show. Okay, so you've marked WWE down for the lack of logic around. Pete, logic on WWE? How many times?
It wasn't logic. It was.
You were asking for logic in your builds for the matches.
I always ask for logic in the builds, but look,
WWE are never going to get over a 7 now with you on that if you're setting that rule for yourself.
Like
that's okay. So by that rule of 6.5, that is basically a 10.
No, a 6.5.
Yes.
Listen, the first 2/3 of the card were good. The last third of the card was poop. 6.5. It makes sense.
Didn't Kevin Owens impress you?
What, with his 17-second win?
He did
nothing about his promo
on somebody. Pete, why don't you love him? Why don't you love him?
Because it's not a pop-up powerbomb, which is much more entertaining to look at. Thank you very much for watching and or listening. Mr. John Turbo Finley, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at TurboXLR, as well as the same on Instagram if you want to follow me there as well. And you can check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/TurboDrive Live for all my live stream gaming goodness on the Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. If you ever want to see me play games.
if you want to see him play games, go and watch him. It's a good thing to do.
Indeed.
Mr.
He plays good
Kevin,
games.
where can they find you?
Last minute continue. The sort of parent of all this. You can find us and doing video gamey things. You can find us on Twitter at lastmincontinue. Alternatively, you can find a Instagram which is sort of joint me / last minute continue which is at last minute continue. We're on twitch.tv / last minute continue. And for me personally on Twitter, you can get me at the Kevin Eva. For all three of us, for last minute kickouts, find us on Twitter at Faces in Peril. And oh boy, are we.
Them more so than me. In terms of the internet,
He's the hot tag.
I am the hot tag. In terms of the places around the internet you can find me, you can find my personal Twitter at Titans Creed. You can find my gaming one for at Gaming Phoenix. You can find my specific video stuff over on youtube.com/Project Phoenix Productions, and you can find me 5 to 7 days a week over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Project Phoenix Productions. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I believe we're back next time for SummerSlam, I think is the next card.
Are we doing predictions? It's the second biggest show of the year. Are we doing predictions?
I mean, it's going to stay here anyway, so we could do predictions for
I think... Look, I think that's... we can do predict. You said we can do predictions. You heard him. We
can do predictions. We can do predictions anyway. All I'm saying is that you two have to redeem yourself. I don't. After the WrestleMania card, how many did you two get right? 2.
Oh, I got next to nothing. Turbo was close. I was nowhere there. I went on the basis of WWE and never in a million years going to give you everything, and then they proceeded to give you everything.
At this point, because you two were so bad at WrestleMania predictions, I'm saying that you two should have the predict off between the two of you, and then
we're not doing number one contenders here.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. You two can have. You two can have the predict off to become number one contender to challenge me at All Out. Or
this
All
is
Out.
Some grade A kind of like heel shit. Yeah,
there's some.
Where he's just like, you are the chicken shit heel Pete here.
I am.
He's like, you want to hold on to that belt as much as possible.
I am the champ.
You don't have to lose at any point whatsoever.
This is look.
It's all right. The contract side, they're going to be put for a table. It's fine.
I'm recording this and I make the rules, all right? I record this, I render it, I edit it. I'm the champ. I make the rules. You two, because you were so dog shit terrible at WrestleMania predictions, are going to have a SummerSlam prediction.
Only one of us was dog shit terrible.
Kevin, you both lost. You're both dog shit. All right? At this point, you two can have the predict off for SummerSlam. Whichever one of you two wins gets to go on the predict off against me for All Out for the title.
When is All Out?
All Out is August.
On the 31st of August. So
at the end of
that's
August.
Like 2 weeks after SummerSlam.
Fine. It means another video. Fine. Fine.
The predict
You
off...
have a deal, person who's so utterly hopeless in my mind. I can't even remember your name. But it's the one next to Turbo. What are you doing to that?
It's what champions do, Kev. They show.
It's good you can see this because I can't see this at the moment.
They molest leather.
Look,
please stop doing that.
Look, champions show their belt. Champions protect their belt.
You don't know where that belt's been.
It's been around Hall.
Well,
it's been around.
I'll tell you where it has been.
There's a photo somewhere of Hornswoggle with it.
I tell you what, this belt has been there on show, like the champion I am, showing off my winnings. All right, I will see you two, and we will see you guys for the next video, which will be our SummerSlam predictions for these boys for their number one to earn their number one contendership to face me at All Out for this. The last minute
and then we'll tie. it'll be a three-way anyway.
Thank you very much for watching and or listening, ladies and gentlemen. You can find us on all the socials as we mentioned. Catch us on YouTube if you watched us. Catch us on all the podcasts areas if you've been listening. Thank you very much as always. And until next time, keep it real.